Hi, I'm Leslie Glazer. I'm a local real estate expert in Chicago and host of Windy City Wednesdays. Each week I feature a neighborhood gem so you can get a little more insight and backstory on some of Chicago's favorite places. Hi, I'm Leslie Glazer with Windy City Wednesdays, and today we're with Shad, Augusta Food and Wine in Lincoln Square. And obviously we're doing this remotely. So Shad, thank you for chatting with me. I'd love to hear more about your shop and what's happening these days in this wacky world.
We're still open for business. Technically, we're a grocery store. I have the same licenses in Mariano's, so I am allowed to stay open. I would say our walk-in business has tapered to maybe 20% of our business. I still have some locals that come in occasionally, but most of our business has gone to deliveries. I have a large wine club, and we have just a lot of regulars that I've reached out to and that have reached out to me, so that I can keep the good people of Lincoln Square in wine and cheese. So
I'm sure they're very thankful for that right now.
I don't know if you've heard, people are drinking a lot right now. So
I have. So that's a good thing for you. Have you seen your sales besides the obvious? Are people, just wanting to do more wine clubs and things like that, or is it just more?
There's been a couple things that surprised me. I mean, I anticipated that there would be a lot of wine being sold. That's just what we see during any sort of, crisis mode. We tend to see alcohol sales go up around 10%. Right now, they're up around 25%, I believe, like across the country. It was 22 last week at some point that I checked, and I'm sure they've gone up again by now, but I haven't checked in a few days. Our numbers have stayed really consistent. I have been surprised that we've had a lot of new wine club members. That's not something I anticipated.
I love that.
Yeah, I guess in kind of uncertain times, I didn't expect to have new people signing up for like a monthly fee-based.
We need something to look forward to.
I guess so. If I can offer a little glimmer of hope, I'm
exactly
happy to do so.
What's your background with wine?
What's my background in wine? I kind of stumbled into it like in my early 20s. I was living in Chicago, obviously, and playing music, just kind of enjoying myself mostly, and working in restaurants to support myself while I was playing music around the city. And I just kind of stumbled into it. I had a manager at a restaurant that I worked at that was really focused on his wine education, and he started holding tastings with the staff, and he thought that I had a pretty good nose, I guess you would say. And so he kind of pointed me in a direction, and then I tend to kind of get really into things. I get a little geeky about things. Like if I get into something, I kind of go all in. So, suddenly I had books, and I was learning about, different regions, and I had maps, and it was, became a thing. So then eventually I moved on to work at Bolo Restaurant and Wine Bar in Roscoe Village. Stephen Dunn and John Young, I worked with those guys, and I was the wine director there for many, many years. So that was key in establishing really good relationships with distributors and my reps, and kind of just getting me inside of the business so that I could do what I'm doing now, because now I have really tight-knit relationships with kind of the entire sales side of the wine business. So I can, and they know me very well. They know what we do, so they bring me things that are maybe new to the market, things that they feel like
people don't see
work for the shop. Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, that's kind of my goal is to, I've never been as far as like a wine guy or like, you know, wine director, however, whatever my title was at the time. I was never really about like Grand Cru Burgundies or anything like that. I really love to find like the gems in the like $20 retail price range, because if you take your time, you can find those. They're usually off the beaten path stuff too. You know, you have to look in areas that people aren't really familiar with, but and I think that's been a big part of our success as a wine shop is.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what people want on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's affordable. You're the go-between. So it's fantastic that we don't have to walk into a big place, get overwhelmed with all these wines.
Yeah,
You've done
that's another
collecting for us.
Exactly. And I kind of feel like the days of, I mean, you know, there's always going to be a place for, you know, big box booze retailers. That's always going to be a thing, obviously. But I feel like the days of, you know, it's kind of like the days of the 100-page wine list. Like they're just kind of dead. Like people don't want that. They want a small, tight selection that makes sense, you know, and they want to discover new things. They're not looking to, you know, I guess, yeah, I don't know.
So if people don't know Augusta, can you describe it?
Yeah. We're in Lincoln Square. We're a small retail wine and cheese focused. We do have a cheese case, so we cut to order. I get deliveries of mostly European cheeses. I have some domestic as well. So that I would say that the wine and the cheese are definitely a majority of our sales, are definitely the reason that people come in. But I do really well with, I mean, we do salumi and pâtés, preserves, you know, Marcona almonds. So really anything that you could imagine that would accompany cheeses and meats and wine, that's kind of our focus. You know, we have a small selection of olive oils and vinegars and, you know, a small selection of that stuff that I procure as well.
It's
like
really
I say,
nice.
I just
You know your patrons.
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, my entire business model is based upon building trust over a matter of time, and that's why you know, it wasn't like starting out as we were. I knew that it wasn't something that you could market per se. You can't really just tell people what this is. People have to come in, and then they have to come in again, and you have to earn their trust eventually. And that was the thing. When I was the wine director at Volo, I was always really good at remembering what people liked. And I didn't have to know exactly the wine, but I got a feel for their palate. And I usually could figure out pretty quickly what they're going to react positively to. So that was always my neck. I'll never remember your name when you come in, but I'll always
know wine I like.
But I'll always know what you like to drink. So, and that's the most important thing.
I don't think people have a problem with that.
No, they haven't been offended yet. So
I'm sure they're blown away that you would even remember. What?
It's always constantly changing.
Yeah, I would imagine. What are the trends? What are you seeing in terms of what's happening?
Let's see. What am I hearing a lot of? Suddenly, the natural wine, that word has become ubiquitous with people coming into wine shops, and I have to say, it's a tough category for me because I understand what that kind of means within the wine world, but like with natural wine, I'm never sure if somebody like just read it and they think maybe it means like super organic or something. You know, I'm not sure. So that word has suddenly started become a request constantly, is natural wines. Orange wine, which I'm pleased to see that people are starting to get turned on to that. I mean, rosé's been a thing obviously for several years now, so you know, we're already into rosé season. I'm already moving rosés. I think sometimes people just like to, you know, the rosé at the beginning of the season is kind of their ray of hope, you know.
We all need it.
Exactly.
So you're open now and you're doing deliveries.
Yeah,
and you're
lots of deliveries. I have I have a Ellen who works for me, has been during the day. She comes and watches the shop while I load up the car and drive basically all over the city. I would say mostly we're in Lincoln Square, but I've dropped off wine in Evanston and South Loop and Oak Park. I've been all over the place. So if people need wine and I can physically get it to them, I will make it happen.
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I so appreciate it.
Of course.
Well, that's a wrap. Please remember to subscribe below. And if you're like me and always looking for new places to go and try, simply type in some of your favorite go-to gems and I may feature them on one of my next videos and give you a shout out.